All right. So something that you guys are familiar with are inequalities. If I pointed to this inequality, what would you guys say? Write that, less than or equal to. How about this one? Okay, that equal sign means when you graph it, your circle is what? It's closed. The reason why it's closed is means you're going to include that as an answer. Okay? Class, what's this inequality? So the numbers on the left are smaller, and this one? This is greater than. So the numbers on the right are bigger, numbers on the right are smaller. Left smaller, sorry, left bigger, right smaller. And because there is no line underneath, it's an open circle. The line underneath basically represents an equal sign. Fill in your circle. So if you have an open circle, no line underneath, we don't include that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do an example. I have the inequality x is greater than or equal to -1. Now here I have a number line. Class, do I like tick marks? No, don't spend your time doing it. And there's only one number. What number is it, class? Put a -1 right in the middle of your graph. Okay. Class, is this an open or closed circle? It's a closed circle. Okay, here's the low-level understanding. How do you get a graph of an inequality? Well, if your x variable or your variable's on the left, which side, class? The left. Where's the arrow pointing? To the right. You just graph towards the right. You got a correct answer, no mathematical understanding whatsoever. It's okay, you got an answer. Okay? Why do you go towards the right? Well, the numbers on the right, as you're going to the right, the numbers are getting bigger. Write it. And that means the numbers going to the left are smaller. This reads, I need numbers that are bigger than or equal to -1. Basically, a graph tells us all of those solutions. It's a visual of where all the answers are. For example, 3. Put your finger where 3 would be on the graph. Class, is 3 bigger than -1? Yes, it is, and that's why it's on this pink area. How about -5? Put your finger on it. Class, is -5 bigger than -1? No, and this gives you an idea. Remember, it's smaller going in this direction. Notice there's no pink area. How about -1? Is it a solution? If I put -1 in here, is -1 bigger or equal to -1? Yes, it's equals. And that's why that area is bubbled in. You include it as one of your answers. Okay? So that was an example of inequality. That's like the Algebra 1 pre-algebra idea. Okay? Now we're going to add this idea of interval notation. Okay? So inequality, I did it in pink. Okay? Let's do now interval notation. Instead of having a closed circle, which symbol am I going to use?
Bracket.
A bracket. And in this bracket, I'm going to go in the same direction my inequality was going towards. Okay? This is a graph of the inequality. This is a graph of the interval notation. Now, it's great when you have a graph of the interval notation because this can help us write just the interval notation. Okay? Everyone say left to right. In English, we read from left to right. In math, we read it left to right. On the left-hand side, I have this symbol. This symbol is a bracket. Everyone say bracket.
Bracket.
The other one symbol that we're not using is a what? Parentheses. Okay. So what I'm going to do when I write my interval notation, I'm going to draw another bracket underneath. Class, what number is next to that bracket? It's a -1. Let's write it. And I'm going to do a comma. Okay. Now on this is the left side, this is now the right side. On the right side here, I have no parentheses or bracket. I have the arrowhead. The arrow is pointing to numbers that are bigger than -1, such as 0, 5, 5,000, 10,000, 1 million. Class, what mathematical symbol represents those numbers? Infinity. Infinity is a sideways 8. Go ahead and write it. You'll notice that any number is a positive number because we don't write a plus sign, we just write it with no negative. You know it's a negative number if it was a negative symbol. So if the arrow was pointing to the left, you would have negative infinity. Alright, to finish the problem, always, always, always with infinity, you'll close it with a parentheses. Always. My explanation why is because if you put a bracket says you're including just one specific answer, but this symbol represents many numbers. Okay?